Hi everyone! In this video I'll show you block number 8 for August 2021 in our Jelly Roll Block of the Month challenge. If you're not participating and you'd like to, check the description right under this video. You'll find a link to my Facebook group, and that's where you'll find everything you need to participate. So this is our August block for our challenge. As I mentioned in the beginning of the video, if you're not already participating, you can check below this video for a link to my Facebook group. I've seen a lot of people join the group and want to participate and they're not sure how to find the files. So if you're in the group, go to Group Files, that tab, and you'll see a document called 2021 Jelly Roll Block of the Month Challenge. And that's where you'll have everything. You'll also see PDFs, but don't use that right away. Go to the actual document. In that document, you'll find links and PDF links and video links, everything you need, going right back to January when we started this challenge. And there's even a document for last year's quilt challenge. That's in there too. So that's the easiest way to find all the blocks. And if you don't find them that way, ask in the group and somebody will definitely help you. So this block that we're doing is called a string quilt block. I think it's really pretty, really fun to do. You have the PDF included, everything you need to know is in the PDF, and you'll also have a link for Design Space if you happen to be doing this challenge by using yardage instead of a jelly roll. You can still participate if you don't have a jelly roll, and you'll find those links all in the document as I mentioned in the files. So we'll just put this aside. So I asked in the group who has a 12.5-inch ruler, or if you don't, can you cut a template from something like, let's see here. I have a 12.5-inch ruler, but I also cut a template from this poster board or cardboard, whatever it is. And we can use that also. Or if you do have foundation paper or foundation fabric. The foundation fabric is usually really thin, like a muslin. I didn't have any, and the foundation paper I was able to find was either 8 inches wide or 10 inches wide. I didn't find anything at 12.5. And I didn't want you to have to make a special purchase to get a template for this when you can easily use a ruler or pre-cut a piece of cardboard. So let's work with the cardboard for now. I'll put my ruler aside. Okay, we'll put this block aside. Also, this was my sample that I wanted to make sure all my measurements were good. And I don't mind having two. So here's our cuts. You want to have contrasting cuts. You're going to have a 19-inch that you're going to run diagonally. Let's do it this way so that we're running them straight up and down. You want to center that up. That's one at 19-inch. Then you're going to have two at 16-inch. I'll lay them out just so you can see where we're going with this. You want to make sure when you lay it out that you're over the edge, because we're going to trim after to make this a 12.5-inch square. So you're going to lay it out like that. So we have 12, 16, and then we're going to have 13-inch. We have two of those. 119, 216, 213, 2 10-inch. I'm just laying them out roughly. And 2 7-inch. See, that doesn't go over. It should, and it will when I do it properly. There we go. So I laid it out like this just to show you how it's going to work. You want to make sure always that you're going over the edges of your template, because we're going to trim it after to make our 12.5-inch block. But of course we're not going to be sewing all these at the same time. We're going to start with our 19 and our 16s. So we'll put this one aside. And as you're doing this, you can build all one side at one time and then do the other side, or you can go back and forth on them. It's totally up to you. So I'm just going to lay this one on top nice and straight. Make sure that I'm over this edge when I lay it out, so that I don't have any gaps when I trim it. So make sure you're over the edge of your template. Make sure your template is straight. Bring my tools back here. So I'm just going to throw a pin in it so it doesn't move on the way to my sewing machine. If you were using a foundation paper, you would pin right through the paper and sew right through the paper. But in this case, we're not. So I'm just putting a pin in it. I'm going to sew a 1/4-inch seam straight down the edge, nice and straight, and press it open. And then I'll repeat with this side. You can see my nice straight seam. And I'm just going to lay it back out again. Make sure that I've got enough room to trim for 12.5. Let's make sure I haven't moved my template. Lined up nice and straight. And we'll center this up. Make sure I have room to trim, as I mentioned. And now I'll add my second piece on this side. And as I mentioned, you can work all on one side, or you can move back and forth, whatever is more comfortable for you. You just want to make sure that you're giving yourself enough edge to trim at the end. So I'll just put a pin in here again. I'll sew it and press it open. Here we are, pressed open. These 2 strips are added, so we'll go back to centering our block. Make sure that we're over the edge. Again, I can't stress that enough. And we'll add our next strips that will go on each side. And we'll just continue like that for all the strips. And then we'll trim it into a 12.5-inch block. So I'm just going to lay this out and make sure I'm over both edges. Put a pin in it. And I'll prepare this side at the same time. Go. I'll add these 2 strips and I'll continue on. So here we are. All our strips are added, and you can see that I've kept everything very flat. I always press towards the outside just to keep it nice and consistent. And I didn't bother with trimming off any of these excess threads right away, because when we square up this template, or when we square up with the template, all those excess threads will be cut away at one time. So there's our ready to trim block. So you can bring up your template to the top and use that to trim if you want to. Or I can use my 12.5-inch ruler. This of course works also. Just center it up. Make sure that you're straight. You don't want it to be crooked, because if it's crooked, your block will be off. It won't look straight. So that looks pretty good, and I see that all my edges will be within my trim. Looks good. So let's cut. I'm not using the right I knew that I put a fresh blade in one of these, but I wasn't sure which one. So let's do it again. There we go. And we'll just take that away. And then we're going to trim along this edge. Okay, you want to be sure not to move your ruler as you're trimming. Let's see if I can turn this around. I've moved my ruler, but I'll just line it up again. Right on the edges. That looks perfect. We'll trim this side. I'll just go over it twice. And this bottom we have left to do, but I didn't move it properly. So let's just turn it. I'm sure you'll do that a lot neater than I will. And I really should buy myself a rotating cutting mat. I know you can get them at Missouri Star Quilt, and Amazon has some. And we'll trim off our last edge. Pass again. There we go. Just move all that away. Take this away. If you did cut a template, I wouldn't discard it, I'd keep it, because you never know, you might want to make another block. And there we go. Isn't that fun? Really terrific. So I have two now, which I don't mind, because I'll just add both to my quilt when I assemble everything. It'll be lots of fun. So I hope you're going to enjoy this block. And don't forget, you can check right below this video in the description, find a link to my group, and come join in on the fun. Thank you for watching.